This video is how to connect and probe with the probing device on the roamer arm. I'm in SolidWorks 2017. I'll go ahead and start a new part here. And again, we need to make sure, if you haven't watched the scanning video, that our active device is set to Hexagon. What I'd like to do here is I'd like to connect my arm. Actually, I already had it connected because my icons were red. So I'll reconnect here, and then my probe options appear on the right. I need to have my selector switch selecting the probe on the arm, and from here I can probe geometries like planes. My probe will appear on the screen, and what I do is I probe 3 points as the console here tells me, and then accept with usually the left button is the way that we have it set up. Some people actually have the right button as the accept button, but either way it's 3 points using the trigger, and then either left probably or maybe right, depending on how your RDS is set up, will accept that geometry. Once I build the first geometry, I can probe the next one. And I'm not limited to 3 points. If I need a more accurate fit, I can still probe 4 or 6 or however many other points to create the plane of best fit. When I'm done with those geometries, I can accept, and I can move on to something else. Right now, these probe planes actually come in as surfaces. So they build as a sketch, which is the bounding sketch here, and then an actual kind of boundary fit surface essentially, or a fill face command to fill that bound surface with sketch entity. And I can right click that sketch. Of course, just like any other sketch inside of SolidWorks, I can extend, drag these up to resize the surface, and they will become larger. Cylinders work in a similar fashion, except I do need 6 points here and not 3. I'll probe one of my large side cylinders here. Again, not limited to just 6. Now we do need to pay attention to compensation direction here. I need to make sure that I'm accepting my geometry inside of the geometry, as there's no stress or strain detector on these RDS probes. Just like those planes that we created before, once I accept, it'll build me a circular sketch and a surface geometry. I'll go ahead and hide all of those. And everything else works about the same. I can do circles, I can do lines, cones. Any 2D feature will come in as just a sketch. Anything else will come in as a surface body. I can also probe sketches. And basically this asks me first to probe a plane to put my sketch on, and then in the second mode it'll actually allow me to probe those sketches. So I can do lines and arcs here. Grab my large part. I'll create my plane. 1, 2, 3 on the top. That's my sketch plane. And then the console asks me if I want to probe lines or arcs. And I'm just going to do the perimeter of the top surface here. This will all be projected back onto my top plane. So I do 1, 2, 3 on this back side to create an arc there. I'll do 2 right here, and you see that it starts to connect the dots for me. Do 2 line. So with the probe sketch, you see that this is good for creating things like the profile, but it's not filling in these circles. For that, I would prefer to do like my probe circle rather than trying to probe this as a sketch. But either way, I can still see the top of my hexagon partifact clearly. When I accept here, it builds me a sketch, and I can always go back in and edit that sketch if I need. Change the position of a few things. If I make a mistake, I can always delete that object. I can start to connect the dots here, connect these lines, and start to reverse engineer that way. So I don't actually need my scanner to be able to create cross-section sketches. I can also use the Orient Device tool. The Orient Device tool asks me to probe geometry first. So what I should do is actually not open this up with no construction geometry created, but I can reuse geometries to build my coordinate system around. So right now I can see that my part is not square to the world when I'm using the standard SolidWorks front, top, left, right commands. So what I'll do is I'm going to start a new file here. And I will pre-align my part before I take some scan data. So I'm going to use my plane tool. I have my 3 planes there. I know when they get built that they are not going to be aligned to the world perfectly. So I can verify that by